Okay guys, welcome back. And in this lesson, we're going to make everything feel real, okay? So we're going to look at a real website and understand exactly the type of website that you will be able to build by the end of this course. My goal is to give you absolute clarity and confidence that you can do this yourself. No mystery, no jargon, easy to understand language that you can follow along with. Just a concrete example that you can actually picture yourself creating. So open your browser and go to lightweight.info, okay? This is a premium website for a high-end cycling brand. Now keep the page on the very first section, the hero section. As it loads, you'll notice the feeling of quality. A full width image of a wheel, right? It's taking up the entire screen. Overlaid on top is a simple headline that reads the evolution of performance with a small call to action below it. There's a lot of empty space around the text, so nothing at all feels crowded. This simplicity is intentional, and it's absolutely something that you can recreate and achieve yourself. Look at how clean the top of the page is. The logo sits in the corner, the navigation is minimal, and there aren't any distracting elements. The headline is large, but not flashy, and the supporting text is only a short sentence. The CTA, the call to action, is a single button inviting visitors to learn more. Notice how the button doesn't scream for attention. It just sits calmly on the page. This is modern design, the aesthetic, the minimalist version of everything. It's not about adding a dozen elements. It's about removing everything that you specifically do not need. You'll be using AI to generate sections like this, and it's going to be extremely and surprisingly straightforward. I'll walk you through that in a bit. Now slowly scroll down the hero section to the next part of the page. Don't rush. Watch how the image fades and the new section slides gently into view. This area is called philosophy, and the headline says performance engineered. There's a short paragraph explaining that decades of engineering go into their wheels to deliver a precise riding experience. The layout is simple, a headline, a few sentences, and a button. The spacing around each element gives everything room to breathe. This is a pattern that you'll use over and over and over again. Scroll a little further, right? And pause at the next section. This one is labeled craft with the headline handmade in Germany. Again, there's a sentence or two about how their wheels are made using aerospace engineering and carbon composites. This section looks almost identical to the previous one. Heading, description, call to action, okay? The only difference is the content. The consistent structure helps visitors feel comfortable as they move down the page. Repeating sections like this is exactly what makes a site feel polished. You'll be able to set up a template for a section in your AI tool and reuse it over and over again for each new piece of content. Every time you build out a project, these are basically copy and pastes. The hardest part is always going to be the beginning when you're building it out. But after you have the motion and you have the knowledge from the previous projects, you can literally copy paste, and create variations of it specifically for that business itself. So once you have a library full of these, you're going to be able to reuse them over and over and over again, thus saving you not only money, but time. Keep scrolling until you get to the section called innovation, okay? The headline here introduces the alpha rib technology. The paragraph explains that the internal rib structure strengthens the rim without adding weight. The layout remains consistent again. Clear typography, a few lines of text, and the wheel that guides you as you go down the page. Now, the image of the wheel on the side here anchors the content visually. Notice how the image doesn't distract you, but rather complements the text. Adding high quality images is simple when you know what kind of visuals to look for. In this course, we'll use AI not only to design layouts, but also to source and customize images that fit this story. Now we're in the final course section labeled evolution. The headline introduces the latest wheel model. The text describes how this new product has been completely re-engineered for better aerodynamics, stiffness, and control. Once again, the structure is the same. Headline, short paragraph, and now finally, the CTA. The repetition gives the page a steady rhythm. Each section tells a piece of the brand's story. So when you understand this structure, recreating it becomes a matter of plugging in your own copy and images into a repeatable template. As you scroll to the bottom of the page, notice how the transitions feel. The content doesn't snap or bounce, it glides smoothly into place. The pace of the animation was specifically and intentionally slow and deliberate. There's a brief pause between sections that give you the time to read before the next element appeared. This sense of calm is a big part of why the website feels premium. You don't need to be an expert animator to achieve this type of effect. Modern tools, like the ones I'm going to teach you how to use, allow you to adjust transition speeds and easing curves with a few clicks or prompts. In this course, I'm going to show you exactly how to make your own site feel calm and luxurious, just like this example. So pay attention to the tiny details as you hover over buttons, right? Or links. On the lightweight site, the buttons react subtly when you move your cursor over them. The text might change color slightly, or an underline may slide into place, or in this case, a little bulletin. These micro interactions help the site feel alive without doing too much. It's maintaining that minimal feel, the aesthetically pleasing to the eye feeling. They're the kind of polish that makes a product feel expensive. You don't need to hand code these effects. The tools and workflows that we're going to use soon will generate these interactions automatically. And you're going to learn exactly how to fine tune them so they feel just right. Now scroll a little bit further until you get the end here. Okay? This end section mirrors the simplicity of the hero section, creating a sense of completion. When you build your own site, you'll design a similar final call to action that invites visitors to take the next step with confidence. As you've seen, this site isn't really that complicated. It's a series of repeatable patterns over and over again with just beautiful images played and placed in the correct locations. A hero section with a strong visual and a headline, followed by a sequence of content sections with consistent layouts, and finished with a clear call to action. The magic comes from the spacing, the typography, and all the way that these transitions feel. All of these elements can be generated and fine-tuned using AI. You don't need to be a designer with years of experience to make something feel premium. You just need to understand the underlying patterns, terminology, and know how to use the tools that bring them to life. It's also important to point out what is not happening here. There are no complex data tables, no busy grids, no flashy gimmicks, and the wheel image that appeared throughout the page is used deliberately to anchor the content, not to distract. It was basically like guiding the viewer down the page and telling a story. This is our roadmap. This is what we got going on. There are micro interactions on the buttons and menus, but they're also restrained. They're not doing too much. The motion is slow and deliberate, not frantic. These choices make the website feel elegant and expensive. So when you're building your own versions, you'll learn how to be restrained. More is not better. Better is better. Okay? More is not better. Better is better. Using AI prompts, like the ones I'm going to show you, you'll be able to generate clean layouts and then remove anything that does not serve your story. So if you're worried about not being a developer, take a breath. You will not be writing lines of code in this course. No lines of code. Instead, you're going to learn how to guide AI tools to create designs, generate HTML and CSS. And if you're not familiar with those terms, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're going to be taught. And even suggest animations. You're going to use simple, natural language, like how I'm speaking to you right now, prompts to instruct the AI. You'll tweak settings like spacing, fonts, and color directly in the tool that feel more like design tools than code editors. I'm going to show you how to publish your site with a few clicks as well. You'll learn how to bring it from development into production mode so you can actually use these websites live where your customers can view them. The most important skill is your ability to see patterns and decide what feels right. The technical execution will be handled by the tools. Now, think back to the sections that we just scrolled through, right? Each one told part of a story. Performance, craft, innovation, evolution. And when you create your own site, you'll write your own story and follow your own structure. You might be building a site for a service, a product, or a portfolio, but whatever the subject, the pattern of the introduction, benefits, details, and final invitation will stay the same. You're going to learn how to map your ideas into sections, choose images that support your message, and adjust the pacing so the viewer never feels rushed. Once you know this structure, you can apply it again and again and again for different clients or personal projects. Now, let's scroll up to the top one more time and take another look at the Heroes section. You see how simple this is? A striking photo, a few words, and a button. There's no clutter, no overload of text, and this is a powerful reminder that simplicity sells. Your visitors should understand what you offer in a glance. When you ask the AI to generate your hero, you're going to be able to specify the kind of image you want, the tone of your headline, and the call to action. The tool will present the options, and you'll pick the one that feels right. If you don't like the first result, you'll regenerate it. This process is fast and fun. What takes normal developers, traditional developers, months to create these, we're going to do it in a week. Okay, we're going to do it in 3 days. We're going to do it in less. Of course, depending on your work ethic. If you're willing to work the time that it takes to achieve those results in such a short time frame, it's possible. But basically, all I'm saying to you is, this is not going to be like how traditional developers do things. AI is here, and we are going to use that to our advantage to learn these high-value skills and these websites that are absolutely astonishing. Take one more slow scroll through the top of the page to the bottom. Notice how the sections feel familiar because the layout repeats. Notice how your eyes, they never feel overwhelmed because there's plenty of breathing room. Notice how each section flows naturally into the next. This feeling of flow is what we're aiming for. When you build your own site, you'll use the same rhythms, and the AI will help you achieve consistent spacing and alignment automatically. You're going to spend your energy on refining the message and the visuals rather than fighting with code or templates. Finally, I want to emphasize that achieving this level of polish is absolutely within your reach. Absolutely. The people who built this site used professional tools and expertise, but the underlying structure, the stuff that you actually don't see, you see it, but you don't see it. It's simple. Smooth transitions and well-spaced sections come from deliberate choices, not from magic. With the AI workflows I'm going to teach you, you're going to have the ability to create layouts, generate assets, and refine interactions until they feel premium. You're actually going to be very surprised how quickly you can go from blank page to something that looks and feels professional. By the end of this course, you will be building something like the site that we just explored, or better. You'll design a hero that grabs attention, craft a narrative through repeatable sections, add subtle animations, and end with a confident call to action. You're going to do it without feeling overwhelmed because you will have the clear patterns to follow and the AI tools to handle the heavy lifting. The uncertainty you may feel now is going to be replaced by clarity. You will understand exactly what you're aiming for, and you will have the skills to make it happen. Now, I'm excited to see what you build. I'll see you on the next one.